Assessor Banks will now provide a presentation and assessment overview of these properties.
Yes, I didn't bring a slideshow because it's the same buildings that Laura showed.
Got it.
I figured there's no point. Okay. Now, one thing, everybody, tax assessor is a little different than a fee appraisal. Our office, how we value the properties, it's a mass appraisal. And we have to look at all the sales, and we only include the arm's length sales. So to come about, as far as our values, whether it's tax exempt or taxable properties, the biggest difference between the two, the exempt properties, they aren't paying taxes. So generally, they aren't concerned how much their assessment is, whether it's low or high, because they don't receive a tax bill. But those values go up and down just like everything else. And, the year built is in the system, so they do depreciate. And when we raise the land goes up on those also, or the building. So anyway, we collect sales information, and we look at sales on improved parcels and unimproved parcels. We collect information from the builders to help determine the county modifier, and we have a separate modifier for commercial than what we do residential. We adjust values up and down depending on the sales. This process is done every year, and we do review the properties every 3 years. And of course, if there's building permits or a property sale, we go out and we take a look at the properties at that time also. Our sales ratio with the state has to be between 90% and 110%. So we have to be in that range when we get done with that ratio. We will finish our ratio this year around December 1st. Values will all be set by mid-December. And then, of course, letters go out and we make adjustments. Taxpayers will come in, this is wrong, or, they're fine with the value once we explain everything. So, it just depends. But they come in and we go over it and make sure it is correct. Like I said, it's a mass appraisal. It is not a fee appraisal. So, in other words, what we have for it and how much you want and how much somebody's willing to pay, it's going to be different. So now, starting with the assessor's office at 104 East Washington Street. Laura referred to it as the Moffett Building. And yes, I heard many stories of the soda pop and people going in there to socialize. Our assessed value, which is 60% of our appraised value, and these figures are the 2025 year. We are working on 2026. Those values won't be set until mid-December.
Hey, Angie, just to let you know, the sheet that we put together, I have that up there on the screen too.
Okay.
And so if you'll say the property address, then I'll make sure it's up there. So which one?
It's 104 East Washington Street.
That's the one that's at the top of the screen.
Okay, yeah, okay. Now, I do believe when I gave you those figures, I may have given you some figures from 2026 that we were not finished with. So you may see a little variance because I strictly stuck with 2025 when I went back over this, and 26 is not completed. So if it's not exactly what you have on the sheet, that is why. But
so what did you have for yours?
Excuse me?
What was
the assessed value for my building, $189,800 is the assessed.
That's what we have for that one.
Correct. And then the next building, which is the 108 East Washington Street. Let me get this out. It is 108 East Washington Street, which is where my appraisers are. Then the 110 is the probation address, but they're all the way up. They're upstairs, all the way across. And then the 112 East Washington is where my mapper is, if you've been into our mapping office. So yeah, we can just go from one office to another. When I first started there in 1993, everyone was in the Moffett building, all of us, mapper, appraisers, everybody. And it was crowded, but we managed. That building in particular, this is one that the value is different because, like I said, I looked up the 2025 value. 482,100 is the assessed. Okay, appraised is 803,400.
So then the number, just for the public, that's up there is the rough estimate of the 2020.
Yes, 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 because we're not finished. We haven't done all the sales, and we haven't done our modifier. Okay, and then the next property at 114 East Washington Street, which we always refer to it as the Smoot Building, and Smoot's insurance agency was there. I think it was still there when I started working there in the early 90s. The value on that building is assessed value $52,700, appraised $87,800. The Mason Building at 116 East Washington Street, which has the planning, zoning, engineering, GIS, impact fees. We have it at assessed value $629,900, appraised $1,049,800 for the 25-year.
On the thing that's above, it looks like we did take the 26 numbers on that one, and it was 717,900.
Yes, but yeah, that's not a complete figure. We're not finished with that year. Okay, the Hunter House, which is where the county commission is, at 124 East Washington Street, and this also includes the second building on 104 North Samuel Street, which what's in there right now? There's somebody else. There's a nonprofit using it, maybe?
We work with our probation office in the
Oh,
community.
okay. At one point, it was our mailroom, so I haven't been in there since we moved the mail. The value for that one, for those two, they're on the same parcel. We have assessed value for the 25-year, $352,700, and the 2026 year, no, the appraised value for 2025 is $587,800. Okay. The reason why the 26, some of them's lower, because there's a depreciation in there. But if we change our modifier, it's going to bring that building value back up. And we haven't worked our modifier at this point. And that is why on some of them, the depreciation does not click in every year. There's only it depends on the year built, and it's in the system, the IES integrated system. Okay, now we have a parking lot. We have 3 parcels of the parking lot area. And the one that is 12B 50.1, we have it assessed at $64,800, appraised at $108,000. And there's another parking lot, 2B 51.1, and it's a skinnier strip, and it's right behind the Smoot building. And they bought that separately when they bought the Smoot building. Sorry about that. I'm thinking about the soup kitchen up at the corner, but the Smoot building. The Iron Well, and I remember when I was working there in the early 90s, we used to walk up there sometimes and get something to eat. It was nice that you could go somewhere that close and get something to eat. But the Smoot building, there's a little strip of parking lot behind it that the county bought, and that little strip is $13,500 assessed, appraised $22,400. And then the other one that I researched, that's at the bottom of the parking lot, it's where our county vehicles, where we put them or had been putting them. The assessed value is $71,500, appraised $119,200. The county bought that section of park and lot in the 1990s, and they gave over $50,000 for that little section, just to let you know that, you know, they needed the parking, and, you know, it was perfect for the county to buy it. But it's not that big, and they gave $50,000 for that in the early 90s. Anyway, that concludes all the assessments and appraisals. Like I said, the 26 will be done in December. The properties might have new owners before then, but
So Angie, we had on this sheet here, taking, I think, some 26 numbers, some 25 numbers. Some were lower, some were higher, when we're looking at the assessed value and appraised value. Assessed value, we were looking at about 1.9 million, and appraised value about 1.3 million for all of the lots that are available. Is that roughly the same? Are those the same numbers?
you're talking about the total assessed value?
Yes.
It's roughly the same. There's not that much difference.
It seemed like one went down by a slight amount, one was up higher, so.
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, the 26 is not finished, but the 25, you know, those are actually last year's value. But last year, July 1st of 24 is what the 25 is based on.
So just when we're looking at the total value of available real estate, we're looking at about 3.2.
Yes, approximately.
3.2 million, did I get it? All right, thank you so much, Assessor Banks, really appreciate that.
You're welcome.